much.
Hello, one and all, through the mechpit chat for October 11th, 2025. You'd think I would actually bother to look at the date before I push that go live button, but no, apparently not. uh, no, guys, happy October, happy Monday to all. As I've said on many occasions, Monday's not the worst day of the week, and it's kind of ultimately what you make of it. So, with all that said, thankfully I don't have anything too horrible out in the world out there that I had to talk about. Although I probably should have also tweeted that we were going live, but oh well, that is something we will take care of while we do. Uh, let's see, Dave, man, hello, thank you for coming out as always. I will get the words out sooner or later. But in the meantime, before we speaking about coming out, I want to get this guy out of the back. He can come on in.
Hi. Wait, I'm not Mike Roach. Anyway. Yeah, I was also tweeting.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I could totally multitask. It's like, oh wait, no, this is actually harder than I thought. But no, it was a pretty good weekend for me. What's up with you, Punk? What did you do this weekend?
Well, let's see. The things I did this weekend. I didn't put out a video because I was just kind of sleepy and tired. I don't know. I feel like it's not that I've been unmotivated. I've just been trying to look for motivation and kind of inspiration because I feel like maybe it's because of the change of the seasons. It's starting to cool off. It's starting to be a little bit more pleasant indoors and outdoors. And it's just kind of like I don't really want to feel like I need to go the speed of everything on the internet, and I kind of just want to enjoy myself, right?
Yeah, no, I get you, and it's a little bit of that challenge because like it's weird to think that like it's the middle of October, which means the year's almost done. We're in the 10th month of the year already. It's like, where has the time gone? So now I have to try and get myself ramped up for a little Spooktober, which is
right.
which has been a little bit of a challenge because it's like I don't really feel it, but I'm kind of like, what if I can kind of get myself going into it? That's it. As much as I like those, they just not working for me today.
Yeah. So you can.
So this weekend, I started getting a bit more into that Spooktoberfest, spirits.
Okay. Yeah.
Which for me ultimately means, hey, I get to put on the thicker sweatshirts. Wow, I can't talk tonight.
Yeah, it's still t-shirt weather where I am, but
Well, it's more like the evenings start to cool off, so I'll throw on something with sleeves. So I like to be warm. I don't want to be down in like the South hot, but I want to be comfortable. So, but with that in mind, for me, it also winds up going to a lot of horror, as we always do, and it's been no different for me. Like I started going in, getting all my little skeletons.
nice.
I was like, I want to build a little skeleton and mummy army. So that's gonna be one of the projects I got going on.
It's a monster mesh.
Oh, you better believe me, it's gonna be a graveyard smash up in this house, as we're like pulling out all kinds of boxes of skeleton minis. Actually,
yeah,
I really like this company, War Games Atlantic. They have a lot of generic fantasy art miniature sets.
Okay.
Which are always good for like, fantasy or in some cases sci-fi generic. Or maybe you just want to go ahead and pay the big bucks, or in my case, pull stuff out of the bargain bin. We're like, we're gonna have all kinds of skeleton warriors. That's the army we're building.
I mean, to be fair, getting stuff out of the bargain bin doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it, even if it's last year's. Like that's the thing with the need to come out with new versions and new stuff and continue commercialization and like, you know, at some point, do they keep releasing certain molds or do they stop promoting a certain mold and move on to the next one? Right?
Well,
You see that with the minis and Bandai even too.
Oh my gosh, and it's crazy because you see some companies just love to either reprint the same design but with a little bit of tweaks. Like for example, I saw there was a new Gundam Wing entry grade that got announced,
Okay.
which is like, yeah, that's kind of one of those big no brainer money makers. But
Oh yeah,
companies have to oftentimes go do those reliable ones just so they can go and be experimental. Which brings me to what
true.
is kind of the centerpiece model I got this weekend,
Mhm.
and I have been just kind of drooling over. I can't wait to pull out my airbrush and start painting this thing. But it is the Xeno Dragon.
That's awesome. And that's not 3D printed. That's like an official piece.
This was from a company called from a company called Archon Studios that
Okay.
has this line they call the Dungeons and Lasers, and
Oh.
it was just a crazy mold design. I didn't have plans for a Xeno Dragon before, but I had like
Yeah.
get it. It's even got like it's even got like a little tiny like mouth inside of there.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go down and kind of spray this over with that nice black, maybe get some light blue highlights, and we are gonna.
Oh.
Oh, he's also a little top heavy, so maybe I should probably weigh down the base too.
Blue Eyes White Dragon? Much? What?
Eh,
I mean,
he's
I don't think I think he should be his own dragon. I just wanted to make the Yu-Gi-Oh reference just because.
oh, believe me, he's gonna have an acid breath.
Sorry. I'm glad you added the id to that. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it's been kind of a little chill weekend. I wanted to think that I got something bigger going on, but it was kind of like probably really should have done more. I just sort of mulled about and kind of did that, but I'm pretty happy with it ultimately.
Like I was planning on actually catching up a little bit more on video games and doing more stuff and maybe but like I said, Saturday was just I hadn't slept that well and I just crashed and I just like got up for a little while. I think I missed most of Brandon's, the anime guy and some other stuff, and then I just fell back asleep. It was like I just maybe I just needed to rest. Like that Saturday afternoon nap is kind of nice.
You know, it's one of those things where you sometimes you just need it.
Hmm.
Let's see. So yeah, what was going on this week? I mean, obviously, aside from the whole Hassan thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did make a PSA about a pet service announcement about respected pets and stuff. A little tongue in cheek on that, but
God, what a the frustrating thing is, right?
okay,
There is a use that can be had from having a shock collar,
right.
like when it comes to some training. But this wasn't one of those acceptable, applicable uses of it. This was just how dare you move, and to make matters worse, he's just incapable of owning and saying, "Yeah, I fucked up."
Well, yeah, and but he didn't think he did that when he was bragging about whatever he was saying on stream, right? He didn't think it was a faux pas to say it the first time, which goes back to the things that I've said about him and other people is that you know freedom of speech means freedom to tell on yourself, and do I think that well, we'll not get into that, but yeah, it's just
It
it's
it's just
sad
so
and it's
frustrating because these guys are on these pedestals that they want to go out and change the world. And this was a guy who spent probably tens of thousands of dollars to go and get his name out to get all his attention. Well, guess what, Buttercup? You're getting all that attention you asked for and more.
Right, right. The whole parasocial, the whole people are watching you, and I mean, in the same way that you have certain people with their hashtag cronies or whatever out there, or maybe their fans are a little bit more doing more detective work on trying to sift out any possible drama about something else, and then it stirs up the stuff. And like I said, like as soon as you become a public figure, as soon as you make a statement, make an opinion, like then everybody else is going to start paying attention how consistently you do that and call things out, right? It just is. I'm
It's
just
it, it, it's it, it's annoying, but like the question is like, what sort of topics do you want to see just get all the attention out there? It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, he's a guy who I want to see. I want to see the negative headlines about because he's one of the few people I would say is just fact of the matter evil,
Mm.
which is not something I want to say lightly because like these words should have meaning, and it's you watch the guy and how he acts, and no, guys like Hassan, they're just evil. Sorry, look, that's me. That's my thoughts
Yeah,
on
you're
him.
good. You're good. And
I'm not gonna
I,
put
like I
words in
said,
your mouth.
I'm not. I'm realizing that that's a conversation, not necessarily one we want to get into right here and right now. But I'm not disagreeing with your logic in getting there or anything like that. It was just me being the philosophical penguin that I am, and I could go on for like an hour and have a that conversation. But I feel like we're here to talk about big robots and stuff. But like I said, I'm not against continuing that
Well,
conversation at a later time.
all right. Well, we did have a little bit of big bot news.
Oh,
Sorry, a little bit of something about the house here. Uh,
big botany.
Indeed. In fact, one of those franchises we've talked about once or twice along the way. Uh,
Okay,
it
just
got a little bit of a movie announcement this week, and
oh
something worth looking at. I don't know if you happen to had a chance to look at this yet, but we did get some announcements for the next Hathaway film.
yes, I remember. I think you or somebody posted that in one of the chats, but also, yeah, I hadn't. I watched a little bit of the teaser trailer, and I hadn't heard much else. But at least it's finally getting on the radar.
Frankly, I'm surprised this didn't come sooner, but I guess with all the COVID stuff, perhaps it's kind of not surprising it's taken so long.
I think that's. I think they were planning to do it every couple of years, but then yeah, I think that really buckled it because I mean the fact that we've had a couple Gundam series, I think since it came out, like which from Mercury and um, what was the one this summer?
That's not good if we can't remember what it was. What was it? G-Quox.
Yeah, G Quux, right, right. Because it wasn't fully Gundam, but it was good. It was a good, point being we've had yeah. Anyway, yeah, I want to see the what happens with the Gundam chicken, the chicken Gundam.
Should we
Yeah,
check out this? Should we check this out? I don't know if it's to be claimed or not, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
we'll talk for transporting content, but I think we should try.
Oh, and it's also only a minute, so
Okay, that helps. Yeah, I remember it being very short.
人は何を持っていけるか。
政府の特権階級によって
I want to take a Gundam with me when I die. Then I could become Gundam.
I have my ashes like I'm gonna go be cremated and have my ashes poured into the pool. Should I get the chair and drop down and oh no, I've become manlet.
人類が支配された地球
100の単位で死体がゴロゴロしている。
それに抗う者と対峙する者をつなぐ一人の少女危険な
Oh no, it's all going back. It's all going back to G-Quox. The Kira Kira moment.
No, wait, that's a different universe.
Is it though?
It's the different parallel timelines that all exist in G-Quooks.
So we got to go back to the universe where everyone didn't get a happy ending.
It's depressing.
少女と接触してしまった。
うまくいくかな。
私は預言者ではなくてよ。でも、水の下に行っちゃうんじゃないかな。
人類の希望になると願った男の正義が揺らいでいく。
I don't know. There's something about Gundams underwater that I think is just kind of innately cool.
Yeah, we definitely don't see it very often, but if Snacks were here, he would probably say something about Thunderbolt and how awesome those sequences were.
That's true. You know, I really need to go watch that second Thunderbolt movie.
Yeah, Vincent. Oh my! I watched some of the Gundam Age, and I need to watch more. I want to watch Rick and Kista and G just because I really like the designs. But again, Age is neat, but it's like Age is like the Windwalker of Gundam, right? Where they're happy kids and they're running around, but it doesn't feel like it's Gundam. It's just like the current trope with Gundam.
It is the current year, my Gundam pilots.
I am Gundam for modern audience. I'm Setsuna Quooks.
But it's still a better series than Witch from Mercury.
10,000 times, yes.
全てが狂っている。勝った者が正義になるということを胸に刻め。誰かがやらなければならないことさ。
じゃあ、あなたが神になればいい。ハサウェイ・ノア。
That was a voice. A young
But
voice.
also the other big thing of it is we're getting a U.S. theater distribution.
Nice. Do I have to wait for the Amazon or the YouTube premiere and then watch it for a couple weeks until then it shows up on Amazon or Netflix?
Well, that is gonna be a question. Like, where do you think this one would go? Because I can't help but think that because the first Hathaway movie went to Netflix, this would wind up there as well.
I would assume so because, again, Netflix does have some of the Universal Century Gundam stuff. Actually, it has a bit of the Universal Century Gundam stuff. Like I said, Tubi has Age and Gundam X, I think, still. And maybe a couple more. I'd have to look into that. Because they did it at one time. Which, again, are kind of the offshoots. Lesser known. Still good, but lesser known. Not as good necessarily.
Let's see. They've got Afterworld Gundam X, Gundam Age, and that's it.
Okay. For some reason, I thought they had one more, but I could be wrong. And yeah, it was.
Oh well, what a shame.
It is terrible.
You know, for all the nice things I've said about Tubi over the years, like I don't use it far enough.
Well, because Tubi's free, it's really easy to forget about it. Because if you're not a pirate and paying for Crunchyroll, or if you're like me and still paying for High Dive because twice a year they have one good show, right?
Same.
Yeah,
we found both. We found both of High Dive subscribers.
Yeah, I wonder if Brandon's dropped it. Like, good. They've had good stuff.
Yeah, High Dive does have good stuff, but it's kind of hard. It's one of those. It's one of those. It's also there sort of things where I enjoy it, but there's not quite enough that makes me say I have to have it.
Well, when I invested in High Dive a few years back when I was on Brandon's show, it's like 3 or 4 years ago now when we did Girls in Panzer. Well, that was cool, and I think they still have that, but High Dive's been losing, and I know this is more of an anime thing, but they've been losing a lot of their catalog. The fact that they lost one of their big cash cows, the Ushimo, whatever, the Idol Reincarnation one, season 3 is going to Crunchyroll. Like, as people like Chibi Reviews and such have said, that's a massive blow to High Dive. That was one of their flagship things. And if they lose Sentai Filmworks altogether and everything like that, then they really have... Oh, and then there's the fact that, not that I've paid for it, but, Ocean Vale showed up. And Ocean Vale will put on things that are a little bit more questionable in the margin. Now, I know that High Dive had Gushing for Magical Girls the first season, but I can see that going to Ocean Vale over High Dive because of if they start getting more popularity and better distribution and more, you know what I mean?
Well, at least Ocean Vale, from what I've seen here, does at least have stuff they have listed as 16 plus. So it seems like they are willing to go for the more ecchi overall.
Oh, yeah, because there's some stuff that they picked up. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, High Dive used to be one that pushed the boundaries, right, with the Sentai Filmworks, and they did some of that stuff. Like, Gushing for Magical Girls was kind of pushing, for what would be normal normies or tourists, right? And then there's several that I'm aware of on Ocean Vale that wouldn't get picked up by Crunchyroll, and they would have, if they did, they would have a very censored version of it, right?
Right. I mean, let's not forget it was Funimation, although ultimately it's Crunchyroll now. Funimation, they were the ones that picked up the interspecies reviewers.
Right.
It's like I'm looking over what they have listed here, and it's like it's stuff I've never heard of. Although at the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and give them a follow on X just so I can at least be in the know for what they have coming out. Because
High Dive or Ocean Vale?
Ocean Vale on X.
Got it.
A couple of these are like, oh my gosh, what are the name of these? Show me your panties while you give me that disgusted look. Guilty Hole, Room of Guilty Pleasures. And that's a cast.
Yeah, that doesn't sound quite family friendly. Yeah, there's definitely a few more that have aired on that, or you have to go to. Well, the other thing is they're picking up some that are also going to be falling through the cracks too, probably. And not all of their stuff is ecchi and like crossing the line either. They have normal stuff too. So like it might be for some of that niche stuff. Like, remember when Bravern didn't get picked up for like 2 weeks and then finally it showed up because people had no idea what it was. It seemed out of nowhere. Like, they didn't know how to market or who was even willing to give it a chance. Like, I feel like Ocean Vale could do some stuff, pick up some of that stuff up quicker because they've kind of got an interesting market.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Seduced by My Best Friend, which is a gender bender anime where the guy gets turned to a girl and then like his best friend who knows full well who about the switch, then fucks him.
Yeah, so there's a philosophical question about that.
Is it gay?
Well, that's one of them. There's several philosophical questions. Yeah, is it that? Is a body swap different? I mean, is a body swap different than wanting? You know what I mean? Like, if you then have a different body and different hardware, does that make you then
a different person?
The different thing, right? Or you're right, or and as opposed to modern day sensibilities of feeling like you're born in a different body and mutate it to try and represent. Like, I feel like those are definitely two different things, and I'm trying to walk this line here because I don't want to.
the thing I see it as is ultimately it's like you have people who do for not everything has to be categorized where we don't we have to put everything down to these such strict staunch definitions when ultimately it's like, well, first off, we're basically talking about porn here. Do we really have to have philosophical debates over?
Well, I was talking about the gender bending side of the things, but yes, when you get into the plug and play of it, yeah. So like they do, like I said, they go further in than phrasing.
Well, so I guess we could talk on that a little bit. There was one particular topic that came up this weekend, in the online Twitter space, and it is this idea of elitism in anime.
Well,
because let me see if I can find this.
And this is also what, a few weeks after those guys that watched every opening or one episode of like the best anime from that year and then just like trash talked everything because they didn't even like anime, but they were doing it over because they were bored or something. You remember those guys, or I was talking with Snacks about those guys?
Might have been them. Sorry, I had to go dig for it a bit here, but I found this. Actually, this got posted yesterday. So,
okay,
right. So the issue is the big crux of the story that's coming up is people that were arguing about the idea that, basically, if anime tourism, basically the normies who come into anime for a little bit and stay for a while. The article is trying to push this idea that that's not the problem. It's the people who've been here who have these tastes and preferences, who are basically daring to try and gatekeep, are the problem.
Well, that's a terrible take because you're forcing to choose. You're creating once again this need to have one or the other, right? What website is this?
This is from animetv.jp.net. It's a website I've never checked out.
I feel like if they were more important, they'd have them easier to remember HTML.
By Kieran McKee. Every community that grows eventually forgets what it felt like to be small. Anime used to be a secret handshake, something whispered about in school hallways, traded on burned CDs, and defended against ridicule. It was a culture built by outcasts who found meaning in stories that the mainstream ignored.
Okay, like punk music in the 80s, in the 70s. Let's keep going.
Now, that same culture fills stadiums, dominates streaming platforms, and trends across social media daily. But with that success comes a strange bitterness. The very people who once begged for anime to be accepted are the ones who resent how popular it's become.
It sounds like Billy Joel Armstrong and Green Day.
Right. No, I mean,
I want to be the minority. Like, you're mainstream, dude.
Yeah. It used to be that's the problem with, especially for a lot of things, where there's a difference in that particular case, right?
Yeah, it's a big pile of dookie because I want to keep perpetuating this metaphor, but please go ahead.
My analogy I was going to get to, since you brought up, what was it, what's his name?
Billy Joel Armstrong or something? Yeah, the lead singer
Green Day.
of Green Day. Yeah.
Green Day guy. The issue is that's a person who wanted to be popular and then got it, whereas this is a hobby and interest, a little subculture that wanted to have more people to enjoy it with.
Well, and yes and no, because I feel like in a way Green Day was the tourist in the 90s already, right? Green Day and Blink-182, like, as opposed, they didn't do it because it was popular, right?
Right.
They didn't, the guys, it goes back to, like, I would equate them to the people who got into anime in like 2002, 2005, like when Sword Art Online and some of that, or not quite, but like after Cowboy Bebop had been around for 5 or 6 years, and everybody started hearing about how good it was, right? Like,
Right.
that's when people started showing up and be like, "This animation cool is like this isn't the Pokemon when I was a kid. This is cool, man." Right? But
Well, the
yeah.
the issue fundamentally is you have a lot of people that have come in riding the hype of of it because, well, everything else has been run into the ground, and you have all these Western sensibilities that have just kind of turned all of entertainment in the West into the same sludge and paste. That
Mhm.
anime is like a genuine escape from that.
Yeah.
They complain that anime isn't what it used to be, that the fandom is full of tourists and the newcomers are ruining the community. What they don't realize is that the gatekeeping says more about them than it does anybody else. No, 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 no. Full stop.
Yeah. No. That's the dumbest thing. You can't it's hard to gatekeep. Okay. It's really hard to quote gatekeep anime when you understand that there's an anime for everything, for every genre, every family friendly to degeneracy, right? Like it's just
You mean
animation
quality?
is a medium, right? It's not even an art style because a lot of the people in the 90s think that or a lot of people think that like Pokemon is anime or the big anime eyes is anime, right?
Right.
It's just
Well, right. Don't forget, the ultimate truth is you can't truthfully gatekeep a genre that's on Netflix.
well, and you can't gatekeep as an American the entertainment export of a different country.
That said, though, I do actually support the idea of having of having standards, of having this sort of expectation. Like,
Yes.
if you want to say you're into anime, then I'm sorry, like you're gonna be asked some basic questions. Like,
Hmm.
if someone came up to you and said they were into anime, what the most logical thing you're gonna do is say, "Oh yeah, well, what have you watched? Have you
Yeah.
seen X, Y, or Z?"
Yeah. What do you like? What I mean, are you more of a Shield, Rise of the Shield here? Are you more of a Cowboy Bebop, or are you, into like the Gundam, the mecha stuff? Like,
Maybe you're a sports fan, you like Captain Tsubasa.
right? Um, maybe you like the rom coms.
But the thing is, you've got two things. One, you got people who basically look at you and would eventually say, "How dare you try to, you know, you question my anime taste?" It's like, no, you don't understand. This is how we nerd out. We want to get excited
Right.
and talk about this stuff. Like,
Well,
let
and
me like Punk. Let me ask you a question.
okay, okay,
If you know how you have Sugar Waddle,
yeah,
if she were to turn to you and ask, "Hey, what can you tell me about Gundam?" Wouldn't you get the biggest grin on your face? Because it means you get
yeah,
to talk with her about Gundam.
yeah. I mean, tried that,
But well,
but
what
yeah,
I mean is, if she came and asked you a question without having been uh, kind of pushed into asking the question.
right, right, yeah, no, exactly. Like any point in time, somebody genuinely shows interest in your hobbies, you're like, yes, I want to tell you about all the cool stuff, right?
Mm,
You
absolutely.
you opened a door, and I hope you understand this is Pandora's box.
It's that Malcolm in the Middle clip where I think Malcolm's going to go and ask Hal about how to rollerblade, and
Mhm.
it's like everything goes black. He's like, "Son, you've just opened a door, and once you've gone through this, there is no going back. Are you sure you want to proceed?"
Exactly.
And he's just going to teach him how to rollerblade like it's a '70s disco.
that
But
it-
but
yeah,
that's the thing, though. It's just a frustration at the same time because we want to be able to nerd about this stuff, and at the same time, there is a frustration that comes along with people who are with a combination of people who are coming in who, well, yes, there's a little bit of leeway to be had for people who are coming in for the first time and are new to the genre.
right.
But then you also have people who are coming in because it's popular, and then they want to change everything. Look at all
So
the shippers who want to like try and force
yeah.
their preferences and taste onto every
So
genre.
let me put it this way in a different sort of context metaphor. Like anytime there's somebody newly introduced to something that they think is really cool and really awesome, they get really excited. And and how it's introduced to them, depending on the personality or how old or how excited or just entranced they are by the situation, sometimes you start getting those to compare to like a zealot, right? Someone who's new to the system, religion, or whatever, and is super impassioned, super excited, and like they saw Sword Art Online, and they saw like the first two seasons, and like that is what anime is. Like this defines it for them, and some of Cowboy Bebop, and it's like this is what anime is, and like what do you watch that? That's not really anime. Like exactly, but like. And you're like, dude, I'm glad that you're really excited about the whole thing, but like, there's way more to it than that, right? And if they want to start saying, well, no, this is what anime is, you guys don't understand. It's like, you just got here, dude. It's not gatekeeping. It's like you're limited scope, and you're bringing again. You're taking the things that you understand about your culture and your life and your experiences and directly interpreting the export of a different country's culture and entertainment and trying to make them the same, and it doesn't work.
Well, part of kind of the overall discussions going on is this idea with the tourists that are into anime, which at the end of the day are in some ways an almost necessary thing to have.
Yes.
But also there's this innate frustration that comes along with wanting to share some of these classics with people, and then just the outright rejection that essentially, because it's not a current series, they're essentially saying no, which can be down to animation. I get, depending on how old we're talking, some of the super early stuff like Astro Boy can be really rough to watch, and if you're only used to modern stuff, there's a frustration there to go back to.
Right.
But then you also have the people who essentially act like nothing before 1990 is worth watching.
Which is terrible because Gundam started before 90.
The word tourist in the anime world doesn't mean someone traveling to Japan or visiting anime landmarks. It's a new kind of label, one meant to draw a line between real fans and fake ones. An anime tourist is someone who only watches what's trending. The meme-fueled algorithm boosts titles like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, and Attack on Titan. They follow hype circles instead of studio lineups, scroll through edits instead of reading manga, and often disappear as quickly as they arrive. Which, by the way, is a frustration there to be had too. The people who act as though watching the clips is enough to say, yeah, they're into a show.
It's and then I go back to music. It's like you heard the radio edit, you heard the singles, but you didn't hear the album. So it's like you don't understand the band, right? You just heard those couple pop songs.
Yeah,
your favorite band. Like I always bring things back to music. Sorry, but I didn't. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say there's nothing inherently wrong with someone who's only listened to a band with just what's played on the radio, but you can't really say you're a major fan of the band if you're not willing to go below the charting singles.
Right. If you don't even listen to the album once through and catch the B-sides of that back half of the album, which is usually the more depth, the more like the stuff that is the meat and potatoes, not just the appetizer of the album. And then you get to hear like the deeper writing, right? Some of the deep tracks that, or maybe you'll actually hear instead of the radio edit, the single version that takes out half of the song.
Or the
Right?
demo.
Right. Or, Semi-Charmed Life, I go back to thinking about Third Eye Blind, which is not my favorite band by any means, but I think it was Semi-Charmed Life and a couple others. There's like a whole bridge that changes the song dramatically that they just cut out for the radio. And so, like, you don't even know the song, right? Or it just, again, it goes back to, like you said, watching clips or seeing that. Even if you watch a clip, though, you don't know why that was clipped. You don't know the significance in the episode, or right. You see that it's important, but to have the 15 minutes or 6 episodes leading up to that moment and getting the significance, right? You could be told, but you won't feel it.
Well, honestly, it's not a bad analogy, because I kind of feel that way too. The OK Go song, Here It Goes Again.
Yeah.
Like, they released the early demo version of that, and I actually preferred that version to what became like one of the original OG, YouTube, hit videos.
Yeah.
And the thing is, actually, it's a great analogy, because actually the article's kind of making the point here for that in some ways. Let's see. Others treat the fandom as a fashion statement, aesthetic to match their playlists and social media feeds. To veterans, they feel like intruders, tourists, basically like in a land they never helped build. That they're only coming along because they want to go visit the gift shop, because it's how they say, like, you haven't visited a place until if you've only gone to the tourist traps part of a town.
Right.
Let's see. That frustration didn't come out of nowhere. For many older fans, anime used to be hard to find, and even harder to love publicly. They remember the late nights waiting for episodes to load, trading bootlegs on blank disc, and getting laughed at for liking cartoons to them. Watching anime wasn't just entertainment; it was an identity. And now, with anime everywhere, that identity feels diluted. With everyone can claim it. What does it mean to have been there from the start? And that there is that, because there is so much kind of built into that. I mean, how hard it was to get some of the stuff. Like, I remember kind of getting, laughed at for liking One Piece, like, oh god, like 20 years ago, when everyone was, when Naruto was the rage, and everyone at the time made fun of One Piece because they thought the art style looked terrible.
Right.
I was the one defending One Piece. I'm like, it's good. They're the big three. You can enjoy them all. And
it's true. And
the thing is, in a lot of ways, we had to do this. We had to go into those deeper grooves, the deeper cuts, all those little nooks and crannies, because there was so little around you could get your hands on, that you had
message
to
boards,
enjoy everything you could.
Finding the right chats and the right websites that actually had the conversations, not just people talking that exist, but actually people knew how to find it and where to go, and like actually offered good advice, right?
It brings back a lot of good memories for me. People who I met on like AOL chat rooms, who would go on to become lifelong friends with.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, like, you don't have that same difficulty now to it. And for someone who's grew up with that hardship, who knows what that was like, it's like a whole night and day looking around and realizing and seeing like it's a totally different world, that these people don't understand the hardships. They don't understand everything that was needed to get to where we're at now.
Well, and then I'll go back to the music industry too. Like in the 70s, 80s, it was what played radio, what the record labels distributed. And if you knew an underground band or local band that cut some tracks, it was awesome. It was gold, but it was really hard to find. But now, like in the same way that anime and manga is becoming way more popular, so you have a lot of people that are, killing themselves to make it, right? So we have some of the announcement of several people, right, going on hiatus again recently, because their health is struggling, because they've dedicated their life to this, which we appreciate, but we don't want them to die because they have great stories, and it's not the way to go. But we love their dedication to the work all the same. But you have many more studios, and so much more. You have like trash anime, good anime. You have the 3D rendering, the computer helping to do stuff. It's not like just Akira, everything hand drawn. In the same way that, you know, for music, it's, well, I have a cheap mic. I've got this thing I bought for $300 or $400, and I've got some software. I can cut my own album. Like, I don't have distribution. I don't have a record company, and like, nobody may ever hear it. I could put it on a Spotify playlist, right? Get a few cents on the dime, you know.
But the problem ultimately is when it does come to the tourist. I ultimately I do stand on the side of, yes, there should be some standards at which we have to have.
Right.
I mean,
right.
There's an entire culture that's been built up over decades into this, that you have these people that are coming in now and are trying to impose their standards onto it. I mean, you look at the people who hate all the tropes that come with anime, like the harem series, the beach episode, the shotas, the lollies, like all these things are part of it. You know, for all the good and ill of it, and I wouldn't want to change it for what it is. Change it because I may not like certain elements of it, because if this is all part of the soup that makes it up, it is the warts and all that.
Yeah,
have it all.
I think I'm switching metaphors. It's more like a forest, right? You have all the old growth, but you still need the brush and the new growth, and you still need to flourish and thrive. You need other things in the ecosystem. Like you said, it can't. If all the people who loved it in the 80s and 90s were the only people, then we'd watch the same things and it would just die out with us, right?
So the thing is, ultimately, remember, with this article here, this article is written to criticize us, was to say we shouldn't have standards. That's the important thing you got to get out of this, because here they are trying to push this idea that how dare people have standards. Right. The danger of this mindset isn't just that it's cruel; it's that it's hypocritical. Every fan started somewhere, and most of those somewheres are mainstream. The same people who now mock anime tourists once began with gateway hits like Naruto, Bleach, or Death Note. Yes, that's true, but yeah, in a lot of cases that's true. Like, Gundam Wing and Dragon Ball were those gateways for me. So I'm not going to act like that part of it isn't true, but you go off the beaten path. When you enjoy it, you get into it. You start cutting down deep. You might go watch an episode of some of the other works of like Akira Toriyama, or you want to see what else Kite Tubo has put out. Yeah. So you go read his Western manga.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, the idea. I disagree entirely with the tone of this article and the angle of this article. Just for the record, I guess I never said that out loud. Because without the people who spent the time, the nerds, right? The ones watching Dragon Ball, the ones watching Naruto, the ones watching Wing, right? The ones who stayed up and watched all that stuff, you know, on Sunday nights, and I mean, that was kind of the gateway for a lot of kids, right? On Cartoon Network, right? The Toonami and all that, right? Mm-hmm. Because that was pretty much the only distribution you had. So you didn't tell your mom why you were falling asleep in church, right?
I would never.
Right. So, but and sure, that was just like you said, that was the morsel. That was the only thing you had. So you're like, yes, give it to me, and give it to me at 4 a.m. It's fine, whatever. And if it wasn't for that draw and that consistency and the ratings of it actually having a draw, and them deciding, oh, we could bring more stuff and more stuff, this is a bigger thing, you wouldn't have anime tourists, because you wouldn't have the distribution, you wouldn't have the industry blown up the way it did, right? So this whole thing of like, it's like saying like the next generation, we're the young whippersnappers, we're better than you because we're doing it our way. It's like, okay, but this whole idea of, you know, you have to respect and at least acknowledge the foundation that allows you to exist.
however, this is all ultimately building to this ultimate idea that they're trying to say, like, you don't own the medium. You don't essentially say they're trying to say you don't have any sort of claim to this. This kind of elitism grows from nostalgia. Many older fans look back on the early days with rose-colored glasses, where the community was smaller. The shows felt grittier, and the passions felt purer. But that purity came from limitation. Anime wasn't hard to find because it was better back then. It was hard to find because it was inaccessible. Being an anime fan used to mean being willing to dig, import, pirate, because the industry barely acknowledged you. But fans miss. Well, no, that's not true, because there is something to be said for quality. Some of these modern shows are just crap.
Trash.
Yeah, trash anime existed. But the thing is, we can acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And look, there's a reason why. Doesn't one of our YouTube friends have a show called Your Trash Taste?
Yeah.
Someone does.
Well, I don't know if it's our direct anime friends, but yeah, Trash Taste and some of those other stuff, and Your Mother's Anime Basement, or like.
There's so many. Yeah, there's a whole. Oh God, no! Trash Taste is one of the bigger streamer shows.
Yeah, it is.
They got a lot of pushback because they had Kasana.
Well, that kind of explains a couple things.
Anyway, sorry. The point is, there's like too many podcasts. But
yes.
But yeah, no.
So let's start another one.
Right. The fact of the matter is, there are bad shows, and it's okay. But it's also okay to say, just because stuff is current doesn't mean it's inherently good. Yes,
right.
Some shows in the hype can be super exciting, but if that's the only thing when it comes to anime, then it's not really. You don't really have a fair and balanced understanding of what is and isn't good. So that's where it's important to at least build taste and have stuff to taste it against. You don't just go to one restaurant and say you love Italian food, and if you only eat their spaghetti.
Right. Well, there's also the thing that just because one thing is popular in mainstream doesn't make it better, because how many times, especially more lately, like how just over the summer and this year alone, right, which is reading good in anime land, like how many new series came out that were available between Crunchyroll, High Dive, and all the other streaming services, and at least 10 to 15 of them all looked really, really good. But because of certain popularity and because you want to talk about whatever everybody else is talking about, there's some that fall through the cracks. And every season, there's 2 or 3 that, like, a year or 2 later, everybody realizes was probably the best of the season and the best of the year. But for whatever reason, it just got completely missed, right?
But on the flip side of that, you could also have those series that are popular. You just say, no, I didn't like it.
Right.
As an example, like everyone loves talking about One Punch Man, but I've just never gotten out of my way to go really watch it.
Me neither. I tried watching a couple episodes of My Hero Academia, and I mean, I don't know. It just didn't take.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's another one where I started watching it a little bit. And I'm like, I can see why people like it, but I don't want to watch Deku cry every episode.
Yeah, and yeah, the whiny protagonist. Like, I watched Gundam Seed. I don't need more of that, right?
Right. We love we will go over here for our quality, and we praise our Lord and Savior Kira Yamato himself.
Right.
He's Gundam Jesus.
I mean, I couldn't argue with that.
That nostalgia often comes with jealousy. Fans who built their identities around being outsiders now see younger people enjoying anime freely and pushed it aside. It's a toy's mind mentality, the urge to hold tighter at the moment someone wants to play. But that reaction betrays the community's original purpose. The dream was always to make anime. No! We just wanted to enjoy this stuff and share it. Say, guys, this show is cool and you should watch it. That's what we've always been saying.
Just nerding out about something fun that's new and different than the stale existence of what we had.
This isn't... We're not saying you can't watch this stuff, but what we're saying is come enjoy the stuff with us but don't start a moral crusade and say, well, we have to change so much about the thing you like because it's all problematic.
Yeah, that's the issue which happened to. I mean, how many of you, not to name all the game shop workshop things, but like how many of the hobbies and brands that you've loved just in the last 3 years have just shot all over themselves, right?
Oh my god. And it is a never ending death spiral of hobbies and interests that have been wrecked by this.
It's and this is kind of what I was getting. It kind of hit me like this is just again the foot in the door for quote deconstruction. The whole like, well, we don't think that things exist. Anything that existed before 2008 is just dirty and wrong because we weren't alive for it. We couldn't experience it. And you're telling us all these things that we didn't get to know. And therefore we're bitter and mad. And so we have to differentiate so hard. So hard.
This article's getting worse and I'm getting mad now.
Yeah, it's
now
clickbait. It's trying to rile you up and it's working.
Yeah. The truth is that anime tourism is a symptom of success, not decline. The fact that people who would have never touched anime a decade ago now call themselves fans of victory. It means anime has crossed borders, languages, and so it's popular there. It's more popular now. Therefore, it's better. No, the tourists who come for a hype might not stay for the long haul, but some will, and those who do carry the culture forward the same way anime fans once did. And you know what? If the article stopped here, no one would have been talking about this article, but they then continue. It's this last section.
Yeah. The coup de grace.
The community doesn't need fewer anime tourists. It needs better role models. Instead of sneering at newcomers for not knowing enough, fans should help them find what makes the medium special. The more people who care about anime, even casually, the more support of its creators and studios get. Okay, stop right the fuck there.
Because that's what we were doing the entire time. We were saying, hey, this is a really cool anime. Check it out. No, you old school anime person. You like this stuff. I think this is better. It's new and modern, and you're terrible for liking it.
Not everyone who comes into anime is not everyone who starts watching an anime for the first time is a tourist innately.
No,
in this case, a tourist are specifically the people who are only bandwagoning onto the big prominent shows who otherwise would never watch this stuff.
So they're mincing their own definitions just to rile people up.
Yeah,
like that's so convoluted. That's just like I really want to say this, but I need to use the mental gymnastics and champion modern conversation of using big words and drivel that I don't know what it means, and then finally say something at the end that just sounds like hogwash.
Mm-hmm. It's so asinine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's dumb. Like again, it's almost not worth it, but it's just sad to see that the same conversation, the same trope, the same sort of talking points are trying to shoe in and everywhere and trying to be the person that changed it, I guess is what you mean, right? They're trying to be the one.
Well, okay. They're still trying to push this idea of how to control the ideas, try to control the conversation, basically telling people, all you old guard, how dare you have criticisms about what's going on?
And
how dare you criticize us for wanting to change the industry?
The irony of all that is they're using the word gatekeeper to call all the people out who have really built the foundation, to help this industry grow. And then they want to tell us we need to shove off, i.e. being the gatekeeper. It's just the whole, you can't define you can't use the word in the definition of the word, right?
Right.
I mean, they're trying to basically say, y'all need to shove off. Y'all need to just be happy we're here. Y'all need to stop trying to tell us what's up because we're good. And again,
It's fundamentally the same people who want to criticize and complain and say effectively, number go up. It's more popular. You should be happy and leave it at that. Let us come in and push what we want. This is someone who's trying to push back on the people who are trying to maintain like these, this idea of having standards,
Right.
which you see all the time come out. There will be people who will effectively say, when it comes to like the economy, well, yes, we're gonna come in and make fundamental changes to your culture, but it's okay because it's gonna be for the good of the economy. So number go up, therefore be happy.
Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I know this term's been tossed out a lot, and I feel like it kind of applies here, and I hate the fact I'm using it. But like, you have the tourist, and then you have the activist, which this person who's writing the article seems like they're just trying to stir up stuff and trying to say stuff, and they're trying to create division. They're trying to create two or more camps to pit people against each other to stir up drama, and it's like, it doesn't have to be here.
And that is the frustrating. Sorry, I saw something dumb. I have to tweet about.
Okay.
But you're right. There you do have those activists who want to come in and disrupt, who want to see everything as a means by which they can push their own propaganda, who can push their cause. And so, under the guise of, well, no, the tourist, how dare you criticize tourists, and people want to come in and say, kind of write off the popular stuff because it's popular. How dare you try to criticize all that? But fundamentally, look, it's dumb. Look, the old stuff is good. It's fine if you enjoy some modern stuff, but come off the beaten path and check out a lot of this older stuff around, because there is an endless supply of anime out here. There is so much stuff, and it's one of those things where there are so many of those older books out there that you might not. There's those older series that are out there that you might not realize are going to become your favorite. That might be older than you.
Right.
I mean, for example, I became a big old fan of like Captain Harlock, and that is older than me.
And the other thing is, when you start, and don't get me wrong, because I'm not good with American comics and I'm not good with manga, but anybody who is getting into the anime world, anime community, right, you start to realize that most of these are based on mangas. You start to learn who the mangakans are. You start, and I might have mispronounced it, but you start to learn studios, and you start to learn, like, when you realize that Shonen Jump were weekly, manga that wrote that if they lost people's attention, then they wouldn't have, people wouldn't pay attention, they wouldn't buy it, they wouldn't read it, and then they would be SOL. So they had to create these stories that took several, quote, episodes to get through, right? And then you start understanding the art form and the style, and then you realize, oh, an anime adaptation of a manga, and you realize the manga has so much more depth. Like, this goes to, when a book gets turned into a movie, like the Harry Potter movies, the later ones, right? When the books got so thick, and they, if you read the book, they missed out on so much of the stuff, which is not a good reason for them to redo it with HBO, by the way. But again, you start understanding the depth of it. It's not just like, oh, it's an animated show. It's you learn about the culture, right? I'm bamping while you're tweeting.
Yeah. No, sorry. I'll show you what I was talking about. But
that's good.
So over on the comic shop on Friday nights, we talk about comic books, and friend of the channel, Mr. 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, I and a few others love to talk about comic books. So, like, I totally get where you're coming up with that. And as it turns out, this week, there's a comic coming out that I have been told is one of his favorite books, and
Okay.
we are getting another issue of it.
Oh,
Yes, I have been told that he is a big fan of Rebel Moon, and so I have to remind him that there's a new issue of Rebel Moon coming out this week.
it's very kind of you.
So, folks, if you're out there, be sure to tweet at Nick Weiser and remind him that Rebel Moon Nemesis number 4 is hitting the comic stands this week.
And also, if you see his reaction live, clip it just for yeah.
Oh, but see, that is one of those things we get to do. Have a little fun with our friends and tease them. But,
I do miss Nick Weiser. I don't hang out on the streams very much, but I got to hang out with him a few years ago in Dallas, and that dude is exactly who you think he is, and he's fun and authentic, and like we had a lot of fun and a lot of good laughs.
he's a good man, which is why I sure love to, tease him like I do.
Oh yeah, he's much he can deal with it better than others for sure.
There we go. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just kind of post this out there, and we'll see if we can't get a couple eyes on this. Said, good news if you're a Nick Weiser for the comic stands this week. The prequel comic to one of his favorite movies to ever grace Netflix.
Can't wait to see how that goes over.
I would sure love to see everyone out there do me a favor and retweet this one. I don't ask you guys to retweet much, but I want to make sure that Nick Weiser knows. So if you can do so, make sure you quote tweet this and then you tag Nick in it.
Terrible. It wasn't me, Nick. It wasn't me.
No, it's good. He's gonna thank you. I promise you.
Sure.
But with that said, I think we're gonna go out in a laugh because this has been a good night for me. It's picked up after we kind of went through our Rage article. We had to have a little fun.
Yeah, I'm all about having the fun and realizing that if you take things too seriously, then it's just, well, we let him get to us instead of just saying, you know what, sure, go for it, but you don't have to cause the division you want to cause, or if you want to cause it in your own ranks and quote have them eat themselves, that's fine. Like I said earlier today, I think it was maybe before we started the stream, we were talking, then we decided we need to talk it live. Is like, as an anime fan, we are eating good, very good.
We really are.
There's just really well written characters. I know there's people who are really anti-dubs. Some of the dubs are okay in places, like they're getting a little more scrutiny. Some are sucking horribly, and we'll see. And like I said, we'll see. But either way, we're getting really good stories, well drawn animation, and then there's the stylistic things. Like you still have the styles of stuff that remind you of the 90s stylistically, that remind you of the early 2000s, because it's not just art in eras and it just moves on. It's just certain popular styles and certain genres and certain. What I love about art is that the medium can express the message, or a certain art style, right? If it's hyper detailed or a little bit more thicker outlined like Archer, or something a little bit more comical, even like the Shonen Jump, or the almost like the anime version of The Simpsons, which is kind of what we got the early 2000s. It's like not as detailed, but also the certain expressions and things turn out well, right? Like 02 to 05 era, really kind of
that early kind of standardizing CG.
Right. So you get what I'm saying there. And like and then they definitely took off their own directions for sure. But like I love how when people choose a certain art style to tell a certain story, and it really, when it's done well, it really accentuates the storytelling in general, right?
Mhm.
Like Frerin's really well drawn. It's slow paced a bit, but it's just so well done that you can just get lost in the immersive world. It wouldn't work for some things because the detail, if it was too action paced, like you would lose all the detail and it wouldn't be purposeful. Like it's
Well, at least we have so much variety out there that the truth is there's an infinite amount of content out there that
uh-huh.
you are gonna never be for without wanting anything to watch. I mean,
Which
look at what we're doing now. This is competition for that. There was always something new we could talk about. We could say, hey, let's go watch this old throwback show and talk about it. Or there's gonna be some niche over on YouTuber of the guy who's talking about old 1980s RPGs, and you're like, I didn't want to play this game before, but I can't stop watching this guy's video of it. But
right.
like I said, there's so much out there, and I am ultimately so grateful to everyone out there who took the time out of their day to make us part of theirs. Punkwaddle, you got a little bit of Penguin positivity coming up for this week?
I don't know. It's been a while since I did that. I'm gonna be kind of busy the next week or two, so I'm gonna try. I've got some ideas for some PSAs and stuff to put out there and kind of placeholders. Well, not placeholders, but I may not be doing as much. Like I said, I need to find the inspiration, but I might not as much philosophical, deeper thoughts just because I got things to do.
What about a series of of our little puppet friend talking about monsters? Like, oh, well, what do you do? Like we asked Punkwaddle, like, what would you do if zombies attacked? Something like that.
There was a monster underneath my bed. I like that idea. I'll have to run with that. I have to work on that.
I mean, it is that time of year, so I mean, you might
True.
as well write the algorithm and say, well, what do you do if Frankenstein wants to says he wants to pick your brain?
I want to eat your brains.
But let's see, coming up for myself tomorrow, I'm doing Talk Hard, and we are delving into a little Scooby Doo with Scooby Doo and Witch's Ghost.
Where are you?
Over on Pops' channel.
Oh, you'll be okay. So if you ask Ironcast tomorrow, where are you? It's Scooby Doo on Pop's channel.
I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until I looked it up, but it had Billy Ray Cyrus sing the theme song, and I was like, this is kind of a country take on it. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Like, zoinks, we gotta get out of here, Punkwaddle.
I know. I mean, you've got the Mystery Machine coming to Fortnite, and then The Simpsons later. I mean, it's the pop cultural zeitgeist if you fit Fortnite.
I mean, you can basically play. You get the cultural slurry of everything inside of Fortnite, or you can go play Magic, where we are getting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we have SpongeBob, we have Spider-Man, we have Deadpool.
So they're just making
Star Trek.
They're just making it the generic hodgepodge, like everything else has become a generic mayhem hodgepodge, which is no longer exciting because it's all the same.
I remember complaining about the idea back when they introduced The Walking Dead for this idea.
Yeah.
And this is the final form of that. This is kind of what I was afraid of back then, and kind of why I quit. But
so this is what you're super saying because it's your final form.
This isn't even my final form, but I think we can get out of here before we take another 5 minutes in Namek Central Standard.
I'd like to take over 9,000 more minutes.
I think with that, folks, we're gonna get on out of here. So, guys, be good. Take care of yourselves. Remember, the week's just getting started, so pace yourselves. And until next time, don't be too serious about yourself. It's okay to be a little silly. Take care.
Will help.